Okay, good evening, everyone. It's Wednesday, April the 2nd, 2025, and the time is 6 p.m. On behalf of the West Hants Regional Municipality, I am pleased to call this public information meeting to order. This evening's public information session involves three separate files. The first one is for 60 Old Walton Road, Upper Burlington, PID 451-68069. The second one is for Highway 14, Windsor Forks, PID 453-82934. And the third one is for Upper Water Street in Windsor, PID 4505-6363. Before proceeding further, I would like to begin this evening's session by stating that the West Hants Regional Municipality acknowledges that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people, and that this land is governed by the treaties of peace and friendship signed in 1726. The West Hants Regional Municipality recognizes that we are all treaty people and have responsibilities to this land and to each other. Further, the West Hants Regional Municipality also recognizes African Nova Scotians are a distinct people whose history, legacies, and contributions have enriched that part of Mi'kma'ki known as Nova Scotia for over 400 years. With respect to the purpose of this evening's meeting, the West Hants Public Participation Program, established under Section 204 of the Municipal Government Act, requires a public information meeting for development agreements and proposed amendments to planning documents. This meeting is hosted by planning and development staff and provides members of the general public with an opportunity to bring up any concerns and ask the applicant and planning staff questions regarding the proposals. As a reminder, this meeting is streamed live on YouTube, and audience members are asked not to record the meeting on their personal devices. Council and I, as chair, are committed to ensuring this meeting and its participants conduct themselves in a respectful and professional manner, as outlined in the municipality's Municipal Code of Conduct. Meeting presenters, staff, and the public are expected to always conduct themselves in an equally respectful manner while the meeting is being conducted. I thank you all in advance for your commitment to these important meeting principles. If we need to leave the building in the event of a fire or other emergency, excuse me. My apologies for that. I forgot to shut that off. In the event that we need to leave the building this evening due to a fire or other emergency, exits are found to the right towards the back of the room, and to the left, the muster location is in the staff parking lot in the direction that I'm pointing. I will offer to be the last person out of the building, checking that the washrooms are empty to ensure the building is fully empty. We will now begin with the formal presentations of the evening. The first one will be provided by planner Will Hong, and that is for the 60 Old Walton Road application.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. My name is Will Hong, and I'm the planner with the municipality. So the agenda for tonight's public information meeting is outlined on this slide here. So myself will go over a few slides talking about the planning process and how public can participate in this process. And then we will open up the floor to the members of the public for a comment and question period and have a conversation with anyone who wants to speak tonight. So tonight's meeting is about development agreement application at 60 Old Walton Road in Upper Burlington. Tonight is a public information meeting, which is generally the very first step that we hold through the planning process, and also means that no decision has been made at this point, and no decision will be made tonight here. So just a bit background about this file, a complete application was received from Matthew Moore on February 3rd this year, and the application was to consider permitting a motor vehicle repair and service business by development agreement. So this is the ortho photo of the subject property. The property is currently used as a personal residence with an existing motor vehicle business operating from the garage. The majority property nearby are single unit residents, and there's also a community center across the street. So this image shows the excerpt of the generalized future land use map in West Hands, which shows that the subject properties and the surrounding properties are designated agriculture. And this image shows the zoning map of the West Hands land use bylaw, which shows that the subject lot and the most of surrounding properties are zoned agriculture priority 2, which would allow agriculture uses, agriculture support uses, churches, community centers, forestry and forestry related activities, manufactured homes, and also 1 and 2 unit dwellings. And there's also a municipal owned land zoned open space right across the subject lot. And here's the picture of the proposed development location on the subject lot. It is my understanding that the proposed business will be operated out of the garage showing on this picture here. And here's another picture showing the Old Walton Road from the subject lot driveway. So the enabling policy in the West Hands municipal planning strategy that we're looking at tonight is, first one is policy 8.9.4, which provides council with the ability to consider new non-resource uses from the resource industrial M1 zone by development agreement in the agriculture priority 2 zone. So a development agreement is a legal contract between the municipality and property owners to permit a use that is not permitted in the underlying zone. So in this case, the motor vehicle repair shop is not permitted under the agriculture priority 2 zone. So because the subject lot is zoned agriculture, another policy we look at is policy 8.6.1, which sets the criteria for the agrologist report to determine that the agriculture capability for the subject lot. And the final policy is policy 16.3.1, which is the general criteria for a development agreement. So the application will follow the process on the slide here, where we are holding a public information meeting tonight. We will then review as staff and draft development agreement that will eventually come to the Planning and Heritage Advisory Committee likely in May. And then the advisory committee will make their recommendation, which will then go to council for first reading. After that, there will be a public hearing and second reading, which council will make their final decision on this matter. So if the application was approved by council, the notice of approval will be placed in the paper, and that would outline the 14-day appeal period to the Nova Scotia Utility and Review Board. So lastly, comments and questions on this application can be submitted to myself until noon on April 16, which is 2 weeks from today. And I can be reached through phone at 902-798-8391 with extension 110, or by email at whong@westhands.ca, or through mail or Dropbox at our municipal office at 76 Morrison Drive in Windsor. I also got my business cards on the table there, so feel free to grab one and reach out to me. And that's all I have for my application, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, William. Greatly appreciated the information on the presentation and the application before us. Is there any, is the owner or the developer doing any presentation at all on their own?
Through you, Chair, I don't think the owner will be presenting. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. Are there any questions from members of the public that are with us here this evening that have any questions on this development application? Just checking to be sure. No need to be shy if there's anybody here that has any questions. Okay. Looks like we have no questions there. Anybody from the Planning Advisory Committee or Council that has questions that may be in attendance? Not seeing any. Thank you very much. So with no questions, we'll consider that this file is concluded. Will's information is up on the screen, and for anybody watching, you can also get it through the website at westhants.ca underneath the Planning Department information. Thank you very much, Will, and thank you to the applicant for bringing the application forward. We'll now move on to our second file for this evening, which is being presented by Senior Planner Alex Dunphy for Highway 14 Windsor Forks, and I'll let Alex give you the details on that.
Okay, thank you, Chair, for the introduction. So tonight, I will be presenting an overview very similar to the last presentation that we had. The owner slash developer is present tonight, so they'll have an opportunity to present immediately following my presentation, and then again, we'll jump into comments or questions from the public. So this application is a development agreement request on Highway 14 in Windsor Forks. We received a completed application from Ted on February 4th, 2025, and the request was for a development agreement to allow 4 geodomes on the subject lot, which is intended to be part of an agritourism glamping experience. So here you can see the site plan for the development proposal. I'll just highlight here, if you can see my mouse. These circles are the 4 domes. So this would be the first one, looking over here at the second one here, third one here, and the last one located here. So again, the request is for 4 geodomes as outlined, and also as part of this development agreement request, the existing orchard is intended to stay in use. So here, looking at a top-down view of the subject property, it is a 12-acre lot currently being used as an apple orchard. Access is from an existing driveway, which goes past the Ridge Winery, as seen here on the mapping. And the subject property abuts a winery, agricultural uses, some low-density residential uses also nearer to the highway down at the bottom of the map. So for the generalized future land use map, here we can see that the subject property as well as all surrounding properties are within the agriculture designation. And for zoning, similar, the subject property and all surrounding properties are within the agricultural priority 2 zone. There is a small portion of rural commercial right near the south of the map, but the remainder are all agricultural lands. Here we can see 2 pictures side by side. So on the left is a view of the winery and the access road that I pointed at earlier in the ortho photo. And on the right-hand side, we can see a view of the proposed entrance to the subject lot. So that would be the entrance road leading into the geodomes. For the policies we'll look at for this application, we will look at policy 8.9.4. This enables council to consider new non-resource rural commercial recreation, commercial, resource, industrial, or open space uses in the agricultural priority 2 zone by development agreement. And this request would fall under the rural commercial zone. The Policy 8.6.1 is the criteria that we use to consider an agricultural capability study. That study has been submitted and will be part of the review that staff look to do. And last here, we have 16.3.1, which states the general criteria for all development agreements. So policy that we see in most of our applications. Next, moving on to our process chart here. So tonight is the public information meeting. Again, it is the first step of the process, so no decisions are made tonight. That's much later on. Following this, staff will do an in-depth review of the application and bring a review and recommendation report to the Planning and Heritage Advisory Committee on May 8th. And then on to council for first reading later that month on May 27th. Then the following month, staff will bring this application to a public hearing and second reading on June 24th. And if council approves the application at that time, a notice of approval would be placed in the paper with a 14-day appeal period to follow. So any comments or questions from the public can be submitted until noon on April 16th. The correspondence should be sent to myself, and I'll leave this up for my contact information, but that will be the end of my presentation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Alex. Greatly appreciated the information on that application. I believe you had advised that the owner or developer may wish to ask if you wish to come forward at this time. If you can come up to either one of the mics. If it's both of you, you can perhaps share the mic, or you can split them. It's your choice. You can sit, and just going to ask that you give your names and your relationship to the application that we have, and you'll know that your mic is on when it goes red. That's
cool. Yeah, thank you. My name's Matt Morant, and I'm one of the owners of the proposed development.
My name is Ted Mastella. I'm another owner of the proposed development, and just want to thank everyone here tonight for considering this and giving us a chance to speak. We'll start just a little brief history. The owner of pretty much all the lands surrounding the subject property, and previously until we purchased that piece, his family has owned the land for maybe 250 years, and he's run he hasn't run, his family has run a U-pick there. He recently started growing grapes in the last 20 years and opened the winery. Now it's a wedding venue, and awesome restaurant really close to the Ski Martok. The need there that he was running into was that a lot of people would want to book his wedding venue and couldn't find sufficient accommodations nearby or sufficient at the site. The idea would be to install these glamping domes and be able to let people spend longer and be in the community more, enjoying what Hans has to offer.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you both very much. We appreciate you coming forward to A, with the application, and B, for sharing, what the plans are.
Yeah.
Anything, feel free if you have anything else there.
We have a letter from the owner that he prepared, the owner of the vineyard, to talk about it a little bit. And I'll read this. It's a little long-winded, so bear with me, okay?
It's okay.
My name is Glenn Dodge, owner of Bent Ridge. Bent Ridge is built on ancestral land that my family has farmed for generations. It has been extremely rewarding to continue this legacy and grow business in agriculture and tourism. Farming has changed considerably over the past few decades. Small firms like the Daniels U-Pick that at one time could support a family are now hard pressed to make a living. Though they are separate businesses, the addition of Bent Ridge to the family firm has been a financial salvation to the U-Pick, and both businesses work side by side and benefit immensely from each other. Farming has become one of two types of enterprises: large corporate farms or small boutique agritourism destinations like ours. To say that both of the businesses are reliant on tourism is a vast understatement. Though we have had huge support from the local community, some 25,000 guests that visit us every year are from outside the area. When these people come from outside Windsor to Bent Ridge for the day, they spend money in the community. They visit other attractions, shops, buy gas. What would this economic impact look like if they stayed overnight or for multiple days? Our need for these boutique accommodations on site is driven by customer demand and will significantly and positively add to the economic synergy that the winery and the UPIC have experienced. Guests are constantly telling us that they want the option to spend a night or two at Bent Ridge. We recently surveyed our nearly 2,000 newsletter participants, and the desire for accommodations on site was highlighted again through the survey results. We have a wedding venue at Bent Ridge and are able to accommodate up to 120 guests for a special event. Having nearby accommodations is a significant consideration for couples choosing Bent Ridge as a wedding venue. These weddings generate considerable economic activity in the community through the purchase of flowers, dresses, locally purchased ingredients for meals, additional staffing, and the hiring of local service providers. In addition to our weddings, we believe our on-site accommodations will attract the following types of customers. Many skiers may decide to ski multiple days at Martok through the winter instead of driving back to their homes. Staycationers. The current political climate is forcing people to rethink where they will vacation. Many Nova Scotians and Canadians will decide to spend their vacation dollars in Canada. We would love to welcome them here at Bent Ridge. Tourists from outside of Canada, referring back to the political climate, there are many people from outside of Canada who want to support us as a nation and spend their vacation dollars here. Agri-wine tourism enthusiasts, the word of Nova Scotia's spectacular wine industry is spreading, and the beauty of our wine country and individual wineries means its popularity is growing. Pre-wedding events, guests who attend our special events. So the domes will not only service the thousands of customers that they currently serve, but will attract additional guests that may be traveling through Nova Scotia or couples out for a romantic weekend. Again, these guests are spending money throughout the community. Bent Ridge currently employs 12 to 25 local, depending on the season, and this will increase with the accommodations. Cool.
That's great. Thank you very much, Ted, for reading the letter, and to Mr. Glenn Dodge for submitting it to give the background information on the property and the history there. I think it's wonderful. Is it Matt?
Yeah.
Matt, did you have anything else that you wanted to add before?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you
Thank you,
both
guys.
very much. With that, we'll open it up to members of the public that may have any questions or comments on the development application that we've just heard about.
I have some questions.
Well-
I'd like to see an aerial map. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. It's
Okay.
just going to ask you to say your name just for the record.
Melody Daniels.
Thank you, Melody.
I just would like to see an area map where the domes are planned to be located. And also, can you move them once they're in a specific place? Are they going to be moved around? Will there be a staff member on site? Will there be people guest staying? And where are the toilet facilities going to be? Those are my first concerns. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. No, great
But
questions.
just
Alex,
wanna
can
know
you
these
pop
things.
the map back up first?
Thank you, Melody. Just so you know, what we have going on in the room is the planner is going to pull the map up first, and then we'll have Ted and Matt will answer your questions. You may have to restate them because you rattled off a few there, but then we'll put it back in this. Okay.
Maybe the site plan first, because that really sort of shows them, and then we could maybe pop the other one up. So if you could highlight or just point to them for us, Alex. No problem.
Ted and Matt, just when you are speaking, we'll have you lean in just so that she can make sure she can pick you up, and just make sure, yeah, you get your red light. Thank you.
Can you put it back on the other map because that one's a little bit confusing for me? And just sort of tell me approximately.
Sure thing. Just before we leave this, if Alex could just sort of highlight with his mouse just which of those circles are the domes for reference. So it's that one. And then the next one along. And where they are, they're sort of on the top of the ridge, tucked close to this side of the tree line. And we'll see that on the next picture there. Yeah, thank you, Alex. Right. So, yeah.
So Alex, right now your mouse is on site
You're on
number 4 approximately.
That's where the fourth one would be. That's where the third one would be. Yeah. The second one and then the first one. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. One of the questions about where washroom facilities will be.
Where are the washrooms going to be located in the same area for them?
Each dome will have a full bathroom.
Oh, nice. Better than where I
Shower,
am.
toilet, yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, full
Um,
bathroom.
And will there be somebody on site and to deal with like campfires, to make sure campfires are out and any emergencies that could arise?
You want to go ahead?
Turn on.
We will be employing a manager that'll be nearby and available on emergency call during the business operating hours of Bent Ridge because of our close relationship with Mr. Dodge. He will, his staff will be also on call as a resource.
Will there be fire pits as well?
Haven't decided. You're getting into activities that potentially could, have issues if we install. There's a variety of different ways to be able to enjoy a campfire. One would be to sit around an open pit with wood burning in the open. There are other types of metal fireplaces, different things. We haven't made a decision on whether we would have fire burning taking place there. There may be some hot tubs. I think the hot tubs might go in before the fire pits, but this is a great question and something that we would give full consideration to.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just confirming it. That's it for you there, Melody?
That is all. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you for your questions. Within the audience that we have in the room here, is there anybody else here with questions or comments from the public? Please feel free to come forward if you would. You can come up to the microphone on the other side here if the developers. Yes, and just
Oh, sorry. Morgan Edgecombe. Awesome idea, guys. Really think it's pretty cool. Any reason to stick with just the 4 on the right or plans to expand on the 4?
So where we haven't run this before, if it's successful and there's need for more, if we're not accommodating what we can, is there space? Possibly. Like the land has a little bit more room behind. In terms of keeping in with what is existing and already there within the orchard. We've just of note, and I don't know if that's in, I think, Alex, we've talked about this. We've entered into an agreement with the UPIC to continue their operations and not impede on that. So where those 4 domes are, would it make sense? That'll depend on the performance of the 4 domes. We would be open to expanding if it does make sense, but that would be like 4 or 5 years out before we had the data to make that type of decision.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think you could warrant the expansion for sure.
Yeah, and I think
I appreciate your.
Yeah, if there's to be a phase 2, I mean, that would go through all the different appropriate channels, but the biggest thing would be to get some results from this to prove that it would be financially viable to go ahead. Yeah.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Cool.
thank you very much for your question. Anybody else from the audience that may wish, please feel free to come forward. Matt, Pam in the middle will bring you first, and then to the gentleman will after.
Hi there. My name is Susan Sanford. I live at 116 Halewood Drive in Falmouth, and I didn't anticipate speaking with regards to this evening, but very excited at what I'm hearing and just wanted to say in support how much we need a variety of accommodations in West Hants. So as a resident of West Hants and as somebody who's involved with short-term rentals, exciting to hear this. And again, we need more options. We need more accommodations, but we also need more variety in the accommodations that we offer. So very excited to hear this and wish you all the best with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming forward and for your comments. Sir, if you wish to come forward, please. And as with the others, if you just press the mic button, if you give us your name and where you're generally from. So if you missed it, because I was speaking kind of quiet there, if you can just hit the button for the mic.
Yeah,
And-
I'm Blaine Daniels, the landowner of the Dyke land right next to you.
Yeah.
And I've lived on the property. I've born and brought up there. I've been there for 70 some years.
Yeah.
And the property that they're about to use was never used for anything but pushing apple tree limbs. It's not, I think they're misleading some people by thinking that the whole, what is there, 13 acres or whatever is there, is going to be developed, but it's not. It's the outskirts.
Yeah.
It's only the outskirts. So a lot of people are being confused with taking a whole bunch of farmland for this purpose. And it's not so. I've been around there all my life, and it's just Lynn had some tents up there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would enjoy having a place to stay. There's very few places to stay in this country anymore. They're building places, but there's not many places out in the country. A lot of people would enjoy spending an afternoon there at a wedding and then having a place to stay. I think it's a great thing myself. I border all the Dyke land around it, and not all the way around it, but there's a pasture up the other side. I think still belongs to Philip, maybe.
Yep.
So we have no problems with them doing whatever they want. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels, for sharing your thoughts and taking the time to come in tonight. Feel free. Cody is. Yeah. If you just give your name for the record, and thank you, Cody.
Hi, my name's Cody Sanford. I think given the circumstance that's happening in Nova Scotia right now, most municipalities have chosen to regulate short-term rentals. In that lies a fantastic opportunity for Hants County to attract visitors from outside of the province. As somebody was stating before, the political situation that's going on, a lot of people are choosing to staycation now. And again, with most municipalities choosing to regulate and a lot of them not even allowing short-term rentals in a lot of capacities, fantastic opportunity here for us to attract visitors from outside the community. I'd also encourage, if feasible, to be open year-round, and I think that would help Maritock guests stay and go to Maritock as well. So I think it's a great idea.
Thank you very much. And it is our plan to operate 12 months of the year.
Thanks for your comments there, Cody. Anybody else that wishes to speak, have questions or comments of any nature that you wish to share or provide? Looks like it's pretty quiet, pretty easy going here this evening, gentlemen. So that's the public. Anybody from planning or council that has any questions or comments that you wish to share? No. So that wraps up the questions. Just say that this will conclude this file as our second file for this evening. I want to thank the applicants for bringing their application forward, and everybody who had questions and comments on this. It's greatly appreciated. It certainly helps in the process. We'll now move on to our third file for this evening, and the third file is being brought forward by Acting Director Carrie Fougier. And this is for the Upper Water Street, Windsor, PID 4505-6363. And I'll stop and turn that over to you, Carrie, before I get any deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Chair. So tonight we will be, I will be providing an overview of the proposal and the process, and then we have a presentation from our applicant as well, and then we can accept questions and comments from the public. So as mentioned, this application is for Upper Water Street, Windsor, PID 4505-6363, and it's a development agreement amendment application. So the application was received January 22nd of this year from Cody Sanford. And the request is to amend the existing development agreement that is registered to the property to allow updated unit designs, exterior finishes, additional units to the upper floor, update commercial uses permitted, and update parking design. So this is what is proposed. And of course, as through the negotiation and drafting the development agreement process, these things could be subject to change. So this is an overview of the subject property. So it's currently vacant and it's surrounded by some lower density residential and nearby to town center type developments, so commercial and residential. And it has frontage directly onto Upper Water Street. So the existing development agreement with Asset Management Limited for this property was approved by council in 2009, and it permits a mixed-use development consisting of both commercial space and up to 4 residential units on the upper floors of the building. And the property owner is requesting a substantive amendment to the development agreement to change some of these items. So as noted in previous presentations, a development agreement is a legal contract between the municipality and property owners to permit a use that is not permitted as of right in the underlying zone. And the town center zone permits the development of new main buildings by this process, a development agreement. So for the development agreement amendments, a property owner can apply for amendments to development agreements registered on their property at any time. And Section 15 of this specific development agreement outlines substantive matters of the development agreement. And Section 15.2 states that amendments to any matters not identified under clause 15.1 shall be deemed to be substantive and may only be amended in accordance with the provision of section 230 of the MGA. And given these changes are not listed under that section 15.1, the amendments are deemed substantive. So what that means is this amendment application must follow the regular process for planning applications, which includes a public information meeting tonight, as well as a public hearing. So the property is designated town center, and it's also zoned town center. This is the existing site plan that is part of the existing development agreement from 2009. And this is an overview of what is being proposed. So the building has slightly moved, the square footage has slightly changed, and the parking alignment as well has changed. And you'll see on the upper corner here just a small rendering of that, of the development as well. So we did a site visit today, and this is 2 different views of the subject property. So you'll see that it's vacant. It's directly onto Upper Water Street and has a sidewalk to the front of it. And you'll see the low density residential developments surrounding it. So in terms of policy, so policy 721 and 742 of the Windsor Municipal Planning Strategy enables council to consider new main buildings and new residential developments in the town center zone by development agreement. And policy 722 and 743 states general criteria for development proposals in that zone. And then our policy 1631 provides some general criteria for amendments to development agreements. So in terms of process, we're here at the public information meeting, and from here we will collect feedback and review the application, draft the development agreement, and then it'll go through our approval process, likely beginning in May at the Planning and Heritage Advisory Committee, and followed by council first reading, public hearing, and second reading, and then notice posted in the paper following a 14-day appeal period. In terms of additional comments, they can be submitted to myself until noon on April 16th, 2025. So that's 2 weeks from now, as we know. And I'll leave my contact information up there, and we can bring it back up as well if needed. And that is the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much, Acting Director Fougier, for the background on that, which is certainly very interesting, exciting to see as well. Do we have a presentation from the owner developers?
Yes.
Are you going to speak? Are you?
Just the there. Yep.
Thank you, Carrie. And Cody, if you would just for the record, your name and relationship to the application would be great. Thanks.
Yeah, my name is Cody Sanford, and I'm the owner, along with my wife, Jennifer Sanford of Seastone Developments. That's who will be building this through. Okay, let me see how to. Perfect. Okay. So a bit about us and what we stand for. So we believe in building Windsor, building for Windsor with Windsor. This project is rooted in simple but a powerful belief that development should directly benefit the community it calls home. We believe in building for Windsor with Windsor. This means hiring local talent, purchasing local goods, and reinvesting in the town's economic and social resilience. From design to construction, our goal is to support a thriving, vibrant town center, one that reflects the pride and potential of the people who live here. Every worker on our job site earns a minimum of $23 an hour, with most earning significantly more. Skilled trade people, carpenters, are paid no less than $45 an hour. We see fair wages as a non-negotiable part of reasonable development because when we invest in people, we build stronger communities. This is a snapshot, and that's kind of a better rendering of what it might look like. We anticipate spending $1 million on this project. It's taking 12 months to complete. We'd like to break ground as soon as we get approval from council. We'll hire 20 local people to complete this project. After it's done, we anticipate hosting 2 full-time commercial spaces that will employ 4 full-time employees, permanent. 80% of our materials and services will be sourced by local suppliers. Our community and economic impact, keeping the dollars in Windsor. We're proud to say that 80% of our materials and services will be sourced from within the region. This commitment goes beyond convenience. It's about actively supporting the network of local tradesmen, builders, and small businesses that form the backbone of our economy. By choosing regional suppliers and service providers, we're keeping dollars circulating locally, strengthening existing businesses, and helping to create new opportunities for growth right here in our backyard. From the first shovel in the ground, this project will employ a minimum of 20 local workers, ensuring that skills, wages, and experience generated throughout the development stay right here in Windsor. It's not just about creating jobs, it's about building long-term capacity within the community and investing in the local workforce that will continue to shape Windsor's future. For long-term economic activity, this project is designed with sustainability and community impact in mind, not just during the construction, but for years to come. Once completed, this building will serve as a dynamic commercial space, welcoming a mix of tenants such as a locally operated farm market, real estate or professional services, new retail or service-oriented businesses. By creating space for local entrepreneurs and essential services, this development will contribute to a thriving downtown core. The result will be at least 4 full-time jobs and a foundation for a vibrant, walkable commercial hub in the community. The local multiplier effect. I don't know how to, I'll read it off up there, but for every dollar spent locally, up to 68 cents stays within the community, supporting other businesses, creating jobs, strengthening the local economy. This project is intentionally designed to maximize that impact. By sourcing materials and services locally, we're not just building a structure, we're reinvesting directly into Windsor's economic ecosystem. When you factor in the local spending habits of our suppliers and trades, the ripple effect is substantial. In total, this project is expected to generate approximately $2.125 million in local economic impact, creating lasting value far beyond the initial build. These are our plans. So this is the previous design up on the top right, and our design and bottom left. Some things we've done, we've made the building slightly smaller to comply where we fully would comply with all parking regulations. We've also lowered the height of the building. 2 commercial units on the main floor is what we're anticipating. It'd be around 2,200, 2,300 square feet of commercial space. Above that, we would have large 2-bedroom, 2-bath units. They would be, higher end apartments. They'd be over 1,100 square feet each, which would, be huge units for families to live in. That's the 3rd floor, and it's a mimic of the 2nd floor. our exterior rendering. So our new design is bottom left, old design is top right. Something when we were considering the Heritage Society from Fort Edward, we know their concerns are view planes. The existing development agreement that is already in place, the height of the building is around 45 feet. The height of our building is 32 feet. So we've reduced that by 13 feet and hope to see a positive response from the Heritage Society. Looking ahead, this project represents more than a development. It's a catalyst for local opportunity by prioritizing regional suppliers, fair wages, and community-focused businesses. It creates real economic momentum with over $2 million projected in local impact and new commercial space in the heart of Windsor. This is a lasting investment in the town's future. I know that this isn't a vote today, but our goal is to respectfully seek council's approval to move forward with this community-centered development in the heart of Windsor. This project represents meaningful local employment, support for small businesses and trades, over $2 million in local economic activity, a revitalized, vibrant commercial hub. With your support, we can help shape a stronger, more resilient Windsor, one that grows from within and thrives for years to come. And thank you for your consideration.
Cody, thank you very much for the well thought and well positioned application that you just put forward here. Very nicely done. Any questions or comments from the public as it relates to this application? Quiet. And I'll ask another time, just anybody have any questions or comments that they want to share regarding the presentation just done for the Upper Water Street property? And seeing nothing, I'm taking that to be a really good sign that people are, perhaps their words have been taken away from them. They're so keen with what they've seen. Let's take that to be the thought. So thank you very much, Cody and Director Fougere. I guess your contact details, if anybody wishes to reach out, and I apologize, Alex, I left out checking with you at the end of yours on that, but we'll get them up at the end here, I think. So that's for any comments or questions on this. You'll see Acting Director Fougere's information on the screen, or you can go to the website, westhants.ca, and underneath the Planning Department, all the contact details will be found there. Okay, so that's it for this file. Just in concluding here, we've had 3 applications here this evening, and I'll just give the contact details as one last read for anybody that may be looking for them. Comments and questions can be submitted until noon on April the 16th. For the first file, that's the 60 Old Walton Road. Planner on that file is Will Hong at WHONG@westhants.ca. His telephone number is 798-8391, extension 110. For the file regarding Highway 14, Windsor Forks near Bent Ridge, that is Alex Dunphy, who's responsible for that file. It's A. Dunphy, D-U-N-P-H-Y, at westhants.ca. And his telephone number is 798-8391, extension 118. And for the last file, which we just seen regarding Upper Water Street in Windsor, that's Acting Director Carrie Fougere on that file. Her email address is kfougere, F-O-U-G-E-R-E, at westhants.ca, or her telephone number is 902-798-8391, extension 114. I want to thank all of you for coming here this evening. Anybody watching online, we really do appreciate the interest that you show in coming out, your questions and your comments, and thank you all, and I wish you all a good evening, and look forward to seeing these files as they work their way through the procedure. Tonight's just the first step in about a 2-month process, and